Hello, Capricorn. Elsie here to do a bonus read for you, friends. How are you, my Earth cousins? I hope you're well. Thank you so much for clicking here. Look, I thought I would just show up and say thank you for all the ways you've been loving on the channel. Thank you for all your views. I appreciate you in the ways that you've been doing the thumbs up or hyping or whatever way that you show appreciation. Thank you so much for doing that. And I just want to say thank you. So it's a beautiful day here. I've got all the windows open. You may hear, some street noise and screaming and yelling and all that kind of stuff that might happen when children are out playing. So you might hear some of that. And I just want to remind you that I just began a new sale. So it's for the pre-recorded readings. It is 10% off the pre-recorded readings. You get 5 to 75% off the live readings. You do need a code. It is in the pinned comment, which is at the top of all the comments. Take that pinned code and have at it. Or just take the link and go look at all my prices and packaging. Let's find out what's going on for you, Capricorn. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter. Not just the sun signs, right? Let's find out what is going on for you, Capricorn. Wow. Well, that's a good place to start. We got the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, thinking about the future here. It feels like you are getting a perspective about getting organized for the future. And the Hanged Man tells me, what is it going to cost me? Well, the Ten of Pentacles and the Hanged Man, what is it going to cost me? How much time, effort, or energy do I have to put into it? And what is it going to take to organize it? So I feel like right now you might be in a pause about what your goals are for the future. Like I'm talking 10 years out, right? So what you might be thinking, what are your goals? You're the planner, right? You're the CEO of the Zodiac. So I feel like you're into this planning of what's life going to look like over the next 10 years or so. It feels like right now you're sort of in this perspective of, you know what, I'm inviting in to be a little bit flexible about how I'm thinking about my future. And I feel like you right now are in this place of perspective, emotional perspective, in fact. What is going to make me feel good? What is going to make my future feel the way I want it to feel? Tell me more about Capricorn. We've got the Five of Pentacles. So you could be making a financial plan. It feels like this could be, we could be talking about people. I'm going to say that people that maybe you are disconnected from, that you are thinking, how much time, effort, or energy, or money, or whatever, is it affecting my health? How much do I have to give to this relationship that really is not thriving? It feels like somebody here has put something on a pause. Somebody's on the outside looking in. Maybe you put yourself there. Maybe you put someone else there. But it feels like you're in a very perspective energy right now. So you're trying to pause life essentially to see, it feels like you're being very specific about where you are putting your time, effort, energy, and money. I think somebody here is looking at how all of this, who I associate with, where I work, what kind of career I'm in, all of this, how is it affecting my health? It feels like somebody here is really looking at tightening up some places. Maybe I just need to put some things on the outside looking in, because I'm starting to feel sort of like I'm not ready for the future, or not as ready as I want to be. I need a better emotional perspective about what I want to do from here. We've got the Hierophant. We've got the Queen of Pentacles. And we've got the Queen of Cups. Look, I think you're going to be fine. If this is a reading for you that's about money, about the future, your future findings, or how to build your wealth over time, I think you're going to be fine. We've got Taurus and the Queen of Pentacles here. The Queen of Pentacles is very industrious, right? This is a person who's doing it all on their own, but somebody who's really not only just looking at how much money I can make, because that would affect their health. I feel like somebody here, if you're working too much, I think that you're looking at how can I work less, but still remain abundant. So it feels like this Queen of Pentacles energy is maybe you're giving too much to other people. And so, or if it's somebody who feels like they're not making enough money and has to work harder, it could just be you need to plug some of the holes in the boat, right? Maybe you're just leaking money places. Like it's really easy to buy the coffee every day, really easy to order in Uber Eats or DoorDash every day. It's really easy to put your money in places that aren't necessarily working toward building abundance for your future. So it feels like somebody here is really scrutinizing. How do I build myself? How do I get good health? How do I, stop the leaks, the financial leaks? The Hierophant energy is here. And so I feel like you're really about to take a look at your path to see what is really benefiting you and what is not benefiting you, and how long will it take you to get there if you stay on the path. Because the Hierophant energy is about standing on business, building a stronger structure, and moving forward. And if everybody wants to move forward with me, they can, but the people who drop off, I'm just going to have to leave them there because it's not on my plan for what I want for me. Now, I feel like with the Queen of Cups here, that you are going to be as kind and compassionate as you need to be or can be about the situation. But I'm going to say, it feels, Capricorn, that in this Taurus season, it feels like you have decided that you need to be more compassionate, kind, and loving with yourself, and that you need to put yourself on the front burner, put everyone else on the back burner. With the exception of few, like maybe family, people that you have deep emotional bonds with, right? This could account for members of the family, your children. It could account for a romantic thing. It's platonic or romantic. The Two of Cups is essentially just the decision to share the most intimate parts of yourself with somebody else. And that is not only between the sheets, that's like to share my secrets, to share my past, you give them access to things that no other people in your life have access to. So I feel like you, my friend, are organizing and building your health and being very, very specific, Hierophant energy, about where you put your time, effort, energy, money, and how it's affecting you overall. You're really in a deep perspective about all of those things coming up. We've got the Empress energy, because I really think that you're able to make these decisions because you do not depend on anybody. You don't need somebody to come into your life as a romantic connection in order to make you feel happy. You already are happy. That's what the Queen of Cups is, right? You already are feeling emotionally good. You're already independent. You're somebody who can take care of yourself financially. I don't think you need it. Look, when you're the Empress, it's not like you don't want it. It's that when you call it in, you can now look it over and decide if you want it or not. You're not in a need, which means you're not going to say, come in, right? When you're in need, you're not really going to scrutinize it. When you are in a want situation, you will scrutinize it a little more. You'll go into a perspective about, does this really contribute to my stability and my abundance, or does it not? We've got the Page of Pentacles and the King of Wands. So this tells me, I'm really going to be very specific and pick where I'm putting my efforts. Pick where I'm actioning. What items in my life am I putting action toward? Because the King of Wands has wisdom. It's not the King, it's not the Knight of Wands, it's not the Page of Wands. It's not even the Queen of Wands, right? Well, you are the Queen of Wands, the independent and fiery energy and the ability to bounce back. I feel like the King of Wands brings in a little bit of wisdom and says, I'm not going to give everybody my passion. I'm not going to give everybody that type of energy. I'm going to be very specific with who I share it with, because I know that I've got to save it for me. I can't be giving it to everyone else. Tell me what your future looks like here. 10 of Pentacles. It looks good, man. Future's so bright, gotta wear shades kind of shit. Yep. We've got the 10 of Pentacles. It looks like something is about to brighten up. We've got the Two of Pentacles. The Queen, we were just talking about her. She must have heard us. The Queen of Wands is here. And we have the Ace of Cups. I think you're about to be really surprised. And I think that surprise is going to equal emotional happiness. Now, the thing about this card is, right, not every oyster has a pearl. And the only way that the pearl gets in the oyster is not by osmosis, right? It's just by these little pieces of grit, irritations that get inside the shell. And as it covers itself in calcium or whatever deposits it covers itself in, it becomes bigger and bigger and then very valuable. But it starts off with an irritation. So we've got water and fish. That equals abundance. And so I feel like Queen of Wands tells me that you're about to make some sort of a financial decision or a decision that you are unsure about. You're wobbling on it just a little bit. But it feels like you're now going to be making some sort of financial decision, a decision about your future. And you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance and make a bold move because I'm resilient anyway. And if I end up falling and scraping my knees, it's okay. I own a first aid kit. I'm good. So the Ace of Cups tells me the whole process is going to make you very happy. It feels like it's going to make you heart happy. But I also, for those of you who are single, feel like this could also represent you meeting someone who meets all of your criteria. someone who's open-hearted, someone who's available emotionally, someone who's looking for a long-term relationship, someone who's looking to decide and make a big, bold move with someone who's very fiery, someone who's independent, because that's who the Empress is. This person, when they come along, they're somebody who is looking for someone who is independent, not someone who is going to create dependence. This person could be maybe a Capricorn energy, possibly Sagittarius. We're looking at Virgo energy. We're looking at Aries, Leo, possibly. We're looking at Taurus energy. Libra, possibly Pisces. Tell me why the Five of Pentacles is here for Capricorn. We've got the Lovers. Oops. We've got the Strength card. I think you're trying to find the courage to love again. I feel like you're trying to find the courage to make a choice, to stop holding back, to face what really terrifies you. And I think for some of you, what really, I don't know if it terrifies you, maybe that's the wrong word. I think that what really has got you sort of, what is the word I'm looking for, in a pause, is that I don't want to spend the rest of my time here alone, and nobody does, right? So I feel like the way that you do that is actually starts with you. It doesn't start with anybody else. It starts with you being able to open your eyes and face what you're scared of, face what you're terrified of, find the courage to face what you're afraid of. And so I feel like you're afraid of getting so far deep into a relationship that you stop making the right decisions about your future and your planning and all those things that I talked about throughout the beginning of this reading. I think that you really do want a commitment, but you need to be in a commitment with somebody who's a hard worker, somebody who also is very disciplined in their spending, someone who also has their own independence. You don't want to have to be spending money on somebody or carrying someone. Look, the Empress can be feminine or masculine, a man or a woman. I'm not talking about any specific gender or energy. It feels like I could be reading for just about anybody, really. So I feel like you've worked really hard to create an environment, a changing or transformational environment where you are creating your own reality. But the thing is we can't do it all at once. It takes time, years even. It takes decades to become who you really are to be. I always laugh or I giggle just a little bit under my breath when people say, "Oh yeah, I did all of my spiritual work. I did all of my healing in a year." Oh my God, really? Because then you're better than 99.9999% of the population who knows that you don't heal over a year. You heal over a lifetime. And in that lifetime, you change and you learn and you fall in love and fall out of love. I feel like you're coming to a realization, although I still feel like there are things that scare you or that you have fear of, big monsters, I would say, things that you haven't quite yet tackled. I think that you realize that you have to change and be responsible for creating your own reality with all the tools and the skills that you've been given by the universe, and also all of the aces, right? We have one ace here. And so I feel like it's time for you to realize that you are in charge of the future. You are the one that is manifesting. And manifesting isn't just sitting around wishing and hoping for someone to come sprinkle fairy dust on you. It's actually getting up and doing the hard work, right? Which is what all these pentacles account for. Tell me about the Hierophant here. I feel like you are hoping for a long-term commitment, or you are making, if this is not romantic, you are making a long-term commitment to your goals. I feel like you're about to stay on track without faltering. I feel like it's important to you that you stay perfect at the plan that you put out front here. We've got the Two of Cups, we've got the Judgment card, and the Nine of Wands. So I feel like, it feels like this opportunity keeps showing up. I'm going to say it's like something keeps showing up, it keeps coming back around for you, and it's asking you to notice it in order to make a change. When the Judgment card is here, it's like you're being called to do something. But listen, if you're not ready when it shows up, then you're just going to push it aside. Nah, that's not what fits in my life right now. It's okay, because if it's meant for you, it will never pass you by forever. It always comes back and gives you another opportunity to notice it. I feel like we're talking, for some of you, about a deep connection, a bonded connection. So maybe some of you are like, what if I just had a bestie I could travel with? Like if I just could find a best friend, right? For some others of you, it's like, I just want to have someone that I can share my most intimate parts of me with. my emotional, intimate parts, right? And so the Judgment card tells me that something here is coming that is going to ask you to take notice and make the decision. But maybe you're not ready to make the decision, and don't feel bad about that. Everybody's on a different timeline, right? We're all on our different timeline. I feel like this Nine of Wands tells me that sometimes the reason that you reject it when it shows up is because you still are dealing with traumas from the past. You're the wounded warrior. And I feel like when it finally does show up for you, you're like, nah, you know what? It's just going to be the same thing as it ever was. I feel like somebody here really needs to realize that the reason that you keep rejecting it when the call comes is because you are not feeling emotionally ready. You're not ready to take action because you're carrying something with you. Eventually, the Ace of Wands will show up, make it the 10, and you will drop this burden, this emotional burden that you're carrying. But it does feel like somebody wants to move forward, but it feels like that when it shows up all the time, I kind of reject it and send it on its way, because really, truthfully, I haven't really looked at the monster that I have to be courageous enough to face, or I'm not going to be able to move forward here. Tell me about the Queen of Pentacles. We've got the Five of Cups, we've got the Six of Cups, and we've got the Sun. I think somebody here is dealing with not feeling enough because it's something from your childhood. It feels like somebody with the Nine of Wands and this energy here, the Six of Cups and the Five of Cups, it feels like you've come to the realization, or what is being revealed to you, is that just because it was taught to you as a child, you are at no obligation to carry it forward to your adulthood. You might have been given a bunch of traditions. For me and my family, it was religion. I rejected it all and went on my own path. You don't have to follow what they taught you. You're here, in fact, to create your own reality and do what you want. What does it look like to you? What are you building? So I feel like this Six of Cups, Five of Cups is like, I was told, go to your 9 to 5. Make sure somebody's going to give you a pension and a 9 to 5. And I didn't follow that either. I did it for a little while because I was told to, but then I realized that where it's at is for me to have a business. So it feels like somebody here is having the realization or the breakthrough that the things that I was taught as a child are not necessarily the ways I want to live as an adult. It feels like you are now structuring your life to fit you. But there are still some things, some choices that you have to make to face the things that scare you the most. And I think one of the things that scares you the most is being alone forever. I don't think you're going to be alone forever, because here, right? I feel like you're going to find a committed bestie, or if you don't want to be in love, you're going to find a committed bestie, someone you can share the most intimate parts of your life with. But if you want a commitment in love, I think you're going to get it. I don't think you'll be alone forever. Why is the Queen of Cups here, please? We've got the Four of Swords, we got the Knight of Wands, and we got the King of Swords. So I'm going to say, before you make decisions about things that are deeply emotional, please think about it first. The King of Swords is here to saying, get the clarity, get the receipts, remember what happened last time. It's like, really be honest and truthful with yourself about what you want, what you expect, what you hope it's going to transpire to be, and be very brutally honest without sugarcoating it, without seeing or hoping for potential. I'm going to say that the Four of Swords here is telling me clarity and healing. Before you decide to go anywhere, get into anything passionate, anything that is romantic, please make sure that you are healed. Please make sure, you're never going to be 100% healed. Let's get that right. You can heal to a place where now you can make better decisions, and then you continue to heal after that. But I feel like the King of Swords here, it's five swords that I'm looking at, and that's the problem. If you move too quick, Knight of Wands, it's going to be unstable, and then you get into this place where you start talking badly to yourself. And so try not to jump into anything just because it looks good from a distance. Maybe you like the way they look, and maybe you're ready to just jump in passion. And I'm going to say, before you jump into anything really quickly that you are hoping with potential that turns into something deeply emotional, be truthful and honest with yourself. Instead of falling in love with potential and hoping it works out, make sure that you have better details, facts, and receipts. Yeah. Let's find out what the outcome is here, or what your advice might be. Let's find out what the advice for Capricorn is. We have the Page of Swords. Learn from every situation. If all we look at in terms of a situation when it shows up and pisses us off is all we've learned from it is how to hold a grudge, then we've missed the plot. So I feel like, really learn from the situations that show up and don't work out the way you want them to. The only way that we learn things is when things don't work out for us, right? If everything was perfect all the time, we'd be like, okay, I'll just stay in this red. It's perfect. We have the Nine of Cups. I want you to really scrutinize what your wish fulfillment looks like and stick to the path, stick to the plan, right? Taurus would never veer off the plan. Taurus is too stubborn, in fact, to veer off the plan. And I would say that the Nine of Cups is telling me really learn by scrutinizing the self about what does wish fulfillment really look like? Can I be happy without someone in my life? Because if you can be happy without someone in your life romantically, then you can definitely be happy with someone in your life. But if you're unhappy until someone comes to your life to make you happy, that's a red flag, baby. That's a red flag, big red flag. We've got the Chariot in the reverse. Interesting. So I feel like until you figure out what it is that you really want and what your wish fulfillment is, please work on that. Page of Swords says objective, right? Let's look at it. Let's observe it. Let's learn about it. Let's dig for more information. And the Chariot being in the reverse, stop. Just stop and discipline your emotions before you jump into anything that you feel like you can't get out of. Got the Two of Wands. You need a plan, friend. We all do. Oh, look. Yep. Remember I said the Nine of Wands just needs one more wand before you can drop the burden. And it shows up on the bottom of the deck saying that the only way that you're going to release the burden is by making some sort of really hard decision, to cut one path out for another, or to choose between two, or to really block out one thing and go with the other thing. And I feel like it's terrorizing you a bit because the Taurus is in town and it feels like you feel like you can't go back. Once you step over the line, you got to stay over the line. Six of Swords is here. It's already in motion and I feel like you're already thinking about making a decision here. But the Two of Wands tells me you've already got a plan. You just haven't put it into action because Chariot's in the reverse. So I feel like whether this is financial, whether this is career, whether this is love, whatever it is, going into the future, I feel like you have all of the tools because the Magician and the Empress are here. And I feel like you have a good plan, but I feel like you haven't yet executed the plan. That's why it looks like everything is standing still. All right, Capricorn, I'm going to leave this right here. Thank you so much for being here and watching. I do appreciate you the most. And I'm going to go, but I'll be back because I'm always back. Always. Take care. Bye-bye.